Heather Morales, and I'm with the Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education. Thank you for coming. Today we are going to discuss your options due to ITT school closure. We also have joining us from Department of Federal Student Aid, Renee Gluoto, and Los Rios Community College is in the back corner. We have Roy Beckhorn, and I also have from CalVet, John Kraft. So after John will come up and speak to the veterans, and then after I'm done, Renee will come up and speak to you about federal student aid. So I want to ensure that everybody has a closed school guide and a student tuition recovery fund application. Okay, so what I want to go over first is the closed school guide. There's just a couple things in here that I want to point out, but I highly recommend that everybody goes home and you read it from front to back. There's a lot of good information in here, and it'll help you through this closed school process. So on page 3 is the phone number for federal student aid. This is the number you will contact if you have federal student loans, or if you're not sure who your loan lender is. These people will be able to help you, and Renee will go into that into more detail. Everybody find it? Are we good? Okay, so on page 2, so it will say collect your documents from your school. So there are specific documents you will need to submit with the STRIF application. And so you have to go to ITT's website. I believe there is a portal that students should be able to download their documents and retrieve them. And I believe Parchment is also another resource for students to retrieve their documents. Does everybody understand that so far? Has anybody had issues with retrieving student records? We all good? Okay, so go ahead. Well, that's up to the school. I believe once they receive your request, they're going to mail out the documents to the student. 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, it could be a processing time. But just so you know, the Student Tuition Recovery Fund, you have 4 years to file this claim. So you don't have, don't worry about you have only so many days to get in. You have more than enough time to receive your documents from your school, fill out the application, and submit it to the Bureau. Sure.
I haven't seen anything on their website to indicate that they're giving anything other than the transcripts. No attendance records, nothing like that.
So I believe that the school will have specific documents available to the student, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what they're going to give you, but I know your transcript is a proof of attendance. It may not be your diploma, it may not be your enrollment agreement, but you can use your transcript as proof of attendance to submit with the Student Tuition Recovery Fund. Okay? So let's go ahead, and like I said, please, later this evening, go home, take your time, and read this packet. It has a lot of good information for you. But let's go over the Student Tuition Recovery Fund application. Does everybody have it? So in the lower corner, the front page is our contact information. So our phone number and our email address is there. If you have any questions after we're done, we have extended staff here to assist you. But if you have questions over the weekend or sometime next week, you can always call us or send us an email, and we will respond to you. Our mailing address is on top of the instruction page. So I prefer that you mail all your information because I need original documents, original STRIF application. So you can send me copies of your transcripts, of your proof of economic loss, of your federal student information, your federal student aid information, your loan documents. Those are all copies. I just need an original of this. Okay, so let's go over the first page. So the very first page of the application is your home information, your contact information, and your school information. Please do not give me a P.O. box. I need an actual physical address. And I'll tell you why. Because if you're eligible for a refund, I need to mail you a check. I can't send you a certified check to a P.O. box. It has to be a physical address. And if you move or you change your phone number, you change an email, please notify the Bureau because this is how I'm going to contact you. Okay? And then just your school information down here, and there's your dates of attendance and if you graduated. Any questions? Okay, so SHIP applications are processed in order received, but I would say anywhere from 6 to 9 months, all depending. If you send me a complete application, I don't have to send you a correspondence stating I need this or I need that. It'll be a whole lot quicker, within 3 months. But if we're waiting for a loan discharge or if we're waiting for additional information, I won't be able to process your application until I have a complete application. So if you receive a letter from my office or my unit asking for additional information, please respond. Yes?
How long do you have to decide?
Okay, you have 4 years to complete this. 4 years, no, 4 years from the date of school closure to submit your documents. Okay, so like I said, you have enough time, right, you have enough time to fill out the application, review all your options, and make, a decision for yourself and mail this in.
Sorry, I came late. How does this affect veterans that got GI Bill?
Okay, so I'm going to have Mr. Kraft come up from CalVet. He's going to come up here and discuss all the veterans' benefits and resources for you.
So it's different though, right?
But I do highly recommend that all veterans submit a Student Tuition Recovery Fund application.
Okay.
Oh, yes, we will. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to page 3 of the SHRIF application. So at the very top, it's going to say check all that applies. The first one that you want to check is the closure of the institution. So you can mark that one and that suffice. Then we'll go down to general information. The second question will be, did you pay STRIF fee? The Student Tuition Recovery Fund assessment fee. We are not currently collecting it. So if you mark no, that's okay. It's not going to disqualify you. You will not be ineligible if you mark no to that question. Some of you may mark yes because you enrolled in 2014, and that's fine. Any questions in regards to that?
How can we get it from them?
Okay, so you can download the Student Tuition Recovery Fund from our website. You will click on Students and then close school information, and the Student Tuition Recovery Fund link will pop up and you can download it and mail it. You're welcome. So, and then I think it's the 5th question down. Have you previously applied for STRIF reimbursement? So you can mark yes or no. We just want to know if you have another claim from a possible other school closure and that we need to pull all your information together. It's just basically for our information. It's not going to disqualify you or make you ineligible for any reason. So if you unfortunately attended a school before this that closed and you filed STRIF, just mark yes. And then the economic loss portion. The economic loss would be any tuition payments you made to the school. Some students had payment plans with the school where they paid, $50 a month or, whatever the agreed amount is. That would be considered an economic loss, and you could submit that. If you made payments to a student loan for your program, if you have an outstanding student aid federal loan balance that for some reason is not discharged, which Renee will go into, that may be an economic loss, and you could submit all your documents. That's why you need your federal loan documents. You could submit that information with your application. Yes?
Do we still continue to pay the loans while we're waiting for this?
I'm sorry, I'm
on
sorry.
Our student loans, let's say I got a student loan from my, do I still continue on the payments with them?
Your federal student loans?
Yes.
Okay, so federal student loans, what you can do, and I'm sure Renee will go into more detail with you, if you're currently paying on your student loan and ITT has closed, you can contact your loan lender and you can ask for a forbearance where they stop your payments if you decide to have your loans discharged. So they'll stop your payment. There may be qualifications for that, but they would normally put your payments on hold while you file for the discharge. This way you don't have to make payments while you're going through the discharge process. Any other? Yeah. Just a second. Just a second.
I got loans, plus I have the payments that were paid tuition. And can you get both the reimbursed?
Everything. Everything is considered an economic loss. Just submit all your documents to the Bureau.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions in regards to the economic loss portion?
All right. If we haven't started paying yet,
Okay,
because
so
we
if you
set it
have,
up to where we started our payments after he graduated.
okay, so I believe you have, after graduation, you have 6 months to start paying. But if you feel that you want to file for the loan discharge, or Renee, what's the name of that loan for? Is it disallowed? No, there's another loan. I can't think of the name right now. Borrow defense refund. If you decide you want to file one of those, I believe you can contact your loan lender and ask for your payments to be on hold while you process this, while you're processing your discharge. And Renee will go into more detail. She's the guru. She'll tell you everything you need to know. Yes. So you can go to, if you know who your loan lender is, you can create a login and you can look at your account and you should be able to print your statements and then just submit them to the Bureau.
Does the recovery,
Mm-hmm.
do we use our credits for receiving the money back?
Okay. Do you mind repeating the question so everybody else can hear? Thank you.
If we receive the strife, right?
Striff?
Will we lose all our credits for attending the school?
Yes. Well, yes and no. Okay, so if you decide that you're just done for now and you don't want to attend school anymore, just whatever you want to do is next, and you just want to be done with everything, you apply for Student Tuition Recovery Fund. If you're eligible, we refund you, and yes, you lose your credits. However, if you have federal student loans that paid for an education you were not able to receive, for example, if your federal student loans paid for 3 classes, but you only took 2, you have an economic loss of 1. Or if those 3 class units, for the courses you've taken, do not transfer, that is an economic loss. But you can transfer to another school, have that school accept those units, and whatever units that were paid for that were not accepted is considered an economic loss, and you can receive a refund. Did that make sense to you guys? Okay. And if you do transfer, I will need your enrollment agreement and your transfer information with this application. So if you mail the application and then a month later you decide you want to transfer, give us a call, let us know, and send in the information, your transfer information. Okay? Should we move on? Are we good?
To sum up what you said before, you said that last part. So pretty much what you're saying is, if you transfer your credits over to another school, and they accept those credits, then you can't get reimbursed for those classes. You're getting reimbursed for the ones that are not accepted.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I was only at school for 3 months, for like 1 quarter, and financial aid sent a payment for that time period. So I haven't used any of the loans that are like in my name. Is that gonna be any easier to just like cancel everything out? I don't want any more of it.
Dude, I'm gonna let Renee answer that because that's more of a financial aid question, and she would have more information than I would. Renee, did you hear her question?
I've only been in school for a quarter, so 3 months, and the financial aid sent a payment to ITT. I got a notification about it, so I haven't used any of the loans that are in my name yet. Is that gonna make it any easier for me to cancel everything out?
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm not going to go anywhere.
There you go.
Might be awkward. So the answer to that is your financial aid, even though you may not have received any yourself, it did go to the school for the benefit of your education, your educational costs, right? If you're looking to, you have two choices as far as how to deal with that. You can find out online, and it's on the website that talks about the federal student loans. And if you don't have one, we'll make sure you get that handout. And you can go on to what's called a National Student Loan Data System, and you can find out what's been dispersed on your behalf to the school. Now, you can discharge that portion of your loans that has been dispersed, especially since you just started. That's probably in your situation what I would do, but everybody's situation is going to be different. But if part of your student loans, your financial aid has been dispersed, if you decide to go to another school, they can tell you what your eligibility is for the remainder of the academic year that you're in. Okay? So everybody, that's the frustrating thing, is that everybody's situation is going to be different, so we have to try to cover everybody. Some people were close to being finished with school, some people are just starting, and you got everybody in between. And you're probably going to have to make different choices based on what's best for you. But we'll talk about some of that stuff in just a few minutes.
Okay, so another aspect to the
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So the school that you're going to, is the cost going to be prorated towards that school? For example, ITT, like average degrees, I think 30,000 there. ARC, I believe it's, well, it depends on where it would take you. Is it going to be prorated towards that school's cost that you would be getting back per units that you earned at ITT if you were to transfer?
Okay, so your refund will be based on your ITT rates, whatever ITT charged you for your program. Right. So another part of economic loss could be private loans, private student loans that you have that are not eligible for loan discharge. Those are the documents you would want to submit as well. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and go on to the next page. That'd be page 4, and it would be payment information. This is fairly simple. Just read the questions and answer accordingly. The only thing I want to stress to you, the loan discharge process is free. I have had students call and state that they have paid money to have this done. You should not have to pay money to have your federal student loans discharged. That is free from the Department of Education. And so you would assign date, and we'll go to the last page. The last page is just authorizing me to contact your loan lender for payment information if we have to pay out your federal student loans. Does anybody have any questions in regard to the STRIF process? You can call Federal Student Aid. It's in that phone number. It's the phone number on the 3rd page of the Closed School Guide. And I'm sure Renee will discuss that in depth. Yes?
Can you raise your hand when you have a question? We're webcasting this, so when you speak without the microphone, they can't hear it. Thank you.
I just noticed on page 3 that it was talking about other costs. So supplies, books, computers, what I needed to buy to go to school, is that something that I may be able to get recovered as well?
So what I recommend you do is you submit your total cost here in writing and receipts for everything that that you paid for school, and just note that submit everything and let an analyst determine what is refundable and what is not, and then we can go from there. And if you have questions about anything, call our office, and we can talk to you more personally, more in depth, because everybody's going to have a different scenario of what's refundable and what is not refundable. Okay? Are we good? Because then I'll have John come up from Calvet.
Could be better. Oh, thanks, Ray. Webcasting. Which end do I talk into? This one here? Okay. My name is John Kraft. I work with CalVet. We're the California State Agency for Veterans, also known as the California Department of Veterans Affairs. The reason that I don't say California Department of Veterans Affairs too often is, it's a long phrase to say, but also because it tends to get people confused. I do not work for the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs. However, we at CalVet are here to support any veterans who happen to be students. Can I get a show of hands? Student veterans? Oh, quite a big crowd. I was going to say, well, if it's only a couple of you, let's meet in my back office there at the table with a couple of our representatives from our state approving agency that are also part of CalVet. But since there are so many of you in the audience, I would like to first of all say thank you for your service. I spent a few years in the Air Force myself. So what I want to make very clear is that we are working in concert with the federal VA. Federal VA is, of course, the agency that has been supporting your education thus far. Now, there are a few things that you can do and some things that are in the works to help you that you should be applying for. One of them is the STRIF that was already mentioned to you. So that is a PPE, that's a state-run program. You may be eligible for some recovery funds from the STRIF. So absolutely follow their instructions for applying for STRIF eligibility and receipt of some funds due to loss of your educational benefits. Now back to your benefits, your GI Bill benefits, your federal VA benefits. At the moment, there is not a way in place to restore your lost months that you have used already here, okay, at the moment. So what you want to do is stay on top of changes to rules that may be coming. I cannot speak for the federal VA, but I will tell you that they are working in earnest to see if there will be a way down the road in the not too distant future to have some sort of at least partial recovery for lost months of benefits. But in the meantime, you absolutely want to stay in touch with the federal VA, and you do that through the GI Bill website, you do that through the GI Bill phone number, and you can always contact us as well. Our CalVet website will have continuously updated information on changes to federal rules for GI Bill. That could be one of them, a potential recovery. Okay, again, this is not a promise, but it is something you absolutely want to stay aware of. Okay, number three, I guess. So you apply for STRIF, you stay aware of what's going on with GI Bill potential changes to assist with lost months. Number three, you absolutely want to get going again. Okay, again, looking at the federal VA site GI Bill comparison tool. And this sheet that's in my hand, I'll pass out to each one of you when you come back, because I would like to meet with each of you individually on your way out if possible, hear what your direct concerns are beyond what we address en masse here. You'll be able to visit that GI Bill comparison tool site to find out where you can go next. Okay, it's very important for you to find the best solution, the best fit in order to transfer, if at all possible. The reason is, if you are currently in receipt of BAH with your tuition, you must find another school and transfer to it, another school that's certified, that's qualified, that's accredited, so that you can continue your BAH receipt. Okay, so that's very critical to do that as well. We don't want any of you to make a snap, rash judgment and fall back into another potential situation where you're sitting in a room like this again. Okay, you had every right and belief to trust in ITT. They were at one time accredited. They were at one time in favor, certified, obviously for receipt of federal VA GI Bill funding. Things don't always last. So we absolutely encourage you, going back to that GI Bill comparison and figuring out where to transfer if you can, to think just as hard as you did last time. And unfortunately, while it's not your, it's through no fault of yours that you are in this situation with this school, it in an unfair way means that once again, and we all understand this as veterans, you got to get up and return to the fight, if you will, and help to advocate for yourself. But we are here to advocate with you. Calvet is always available, phone, website, in person. I have contact information at the back. And we also have a team of local field agents, and one of them works in the Sacramento Valley here, and she is extremely well suited to provide all the care and information that you guys might need as you continue this journey with those options I just mentioned to you. So again, they're going to all be outlined on the sheet I'm going to give you. Unfortunately, some of the hyperlinks, you're not going to be able to click on the piece of paper with your finger to get to it, but we'll be able to provide all that for you from the back. Now I know we're going to have a few questions. Yes, sir.
Not me personally, but I have some friends that are vets, and I'm a vet too, but I have a job and stuff. But the BH was their sole source of money, and so are there any resources to help them between BH checks? Because some classes other schools aren't starting till October. There might be a big So how are we ready to help them?
Good. I'm glad you asked that question because that leads me to page 2. There are some alternative programs that you may be eligible for. Yes, you are endeavoring to most likely still on a degree granting or a certification granting program. There are some other options for you, not always just under Chapter 33 post 911 GI Bill benefits or Chapter 34 or 35. Is anybody here working under Chapter 31 Voc Rehab? Okay, so the Vocational Rehabilitation and Education program, again, federal VA, works very similarly. It looks, smells, feels, and pays just like the Chapter 33 benefits. So if you're currently on Chapter 33 and you think, well, if I have to go somewhere else and continue in a field of study, maybe the exact same one I'm in, or maybe I'm going to shift gears a little bit or a lot, you may want to look at some alternative programs such as the VRNE, the Chapter 31 GI Bill program. Okay, it can provide for the same benefits, including the BAH. And it is not tied to schools that have fall semester's already started, you're not going to get into this traditional school now because you're going to have to wait till the spring, right? Which I believe is the dilemma that you were mentioning. So that is one valid possibility. There are also other on-the-job training and apprenticeship opportunities, again sponsored by the federal VA through their Voc Rehab department, where you could actually be starting on some sort of an apprenticeship, internship, skilled profession with either a company or a public institution. For example, we do have, and it's really just a model case right now in Southern California, but we're hoping that our partnership with the CSU is coming to campuses up north, where they work in a program called Troops to Trades, where they're learning one of about 12 skilled trades to support CSU campuses. So they're not degree-seeking students on the CSU campus, but they are people who are going to support the infrastructure for that campus. And in a lot of cases, depending on what a veteran did while they were in the service, they may have skills that are going to readily transfer into a program like that. And it pays from day one. You literally become an employee of the CSU in this case, and then you are compensated through a joint action with the VA and the CSU. There are a number of companies that sponsor those sorts of programs as well. So you want to look in the direction of that. There are also entrepreneurship programs. If you think, you know what, it's time for me to shift gears, maybe I want to go into business for myself, we very much support veteran entrepreneurship. And the state of California is obligated to provide contracts to veteran business owners. And that's without bid, without competition. So if you are of that mind where you're like, I'm really going to shift gears and I want to become my own boss, my own businessman, we have programs and information and ways to support you in that direction. But again, if you want to get back to the, look, I want to continue my BAH, you want to find a school to transfer to, and if there's going to be a gap in that, you might want to consider that option that I just mentioned with Voc Rehab, Chapter 31 benefits, or an on-the-job training type of scenario. Okay, and we can expand on all this information at the back, in person, over the phone, on our website, email. We are here to support you guys and gals. We don't like to see this sort of scenario play out. But again, we are all collectively picking ourselves up. We're going to live to fight another day, as we used to say where I used to work. Any other questions? Great, thank you. Yes, sir. Yep.
I just want to ask, you've been kind of like talking about the GI Bill people who are under the GI Bill, but I am under the Voc Rehab. So is that basically the same kind of animal as far as getting your funds back?
Yes, so
Voc Rehab
correct.
will
So
run into
Voc
the same
Rehab Chapter
problem?
31 and what most of people in the traditional degree granting now, Chapter 33 benefits, the potential recovery will be the same. So anything that is enacted as a rule to help with recovery, if it is from the federal VA, then it will apply for Chapter 31 as well. But for now, for you, if you are already in the Voc Rehab program, you will probably want to look at transferring over to another program that is certified for Voc Rehab. Okay, and you probably won't have as much of an issue with waiting for a full semester to transpire before you can enter another program, because oftentimes certificating programs versus degree granting programs will not have it structured out to full semesters, right?
Well, the problem with me was I've been in school a while, so my Voc Rehab now used to be you could use all your Voc Rehab benefits and then jump over to GI Bill because I qualified for both, and that's no more. You have to use, now you have a certain amount of time to use either or. You can't flip-flop. You can flip-flop, but it has to be done within like 3 years and a half or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm at that point, so
Okay, and we'll have to
can't go
talk
back.
one-on-one in the back about that, because you are bringing up a point that I'm not familiar enough with to tell you about up here yet.
yeah.
I do know that for your use of all of your GI Bill benefits, you have to have used them all by your 15th year post-active duty.
Yeah.
That's a long time. However, if you're saying that in order to go from one to the other, there's a shorter time limit, I'll need to look into that with you.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, sir. Here.
So I hear you talking like about benefits where like people have to like go and do like trades and stuff, but is there anything immediate for the people that are like going to be in distress because of this situation? Like anything that you guys have to offer? Like, I mean,
Absolutely. I mean, you bring up the term distress, so that kind of shifts me into another mindset for people that are going to be in dire straits. We have a lot of resources available, both at the immediate local grassroots level and then greater statewide and even nationally, to support veterans who are facing the possibility of homelessness, for example. Okay, and so I have a whole nother set of resources that I can discuss with you, one-on-one for you or somebody that you know. Also, we can share those resources with you on our website for everybody. And while I have you in the room, I mean, we're concentrating on your efforts to get yourselves whole again. But if you are a veteran that are facing some kind of dilemma, crisis, dire straits like that, or you have a neighbor or a friend or a family member that is, please don't hesitate to give us a call or visit our website. It's very easy to get to our website, calvet.ca.gov, calvet.ca.gov. You will see on the very front page of that website, on the right-hand column, how to specifically deal with the transition that you guys need to work with us on right now. But you will also see across the top horizontal banner resources that are available for housing, homelessness, employment, health care, advocacy, filing for disability claims, you name it. It's all on that website. But again, there is a focal point that will jump out at you right now because of this action that has just occurred, and the immediate work that we all need to do together to help make it whole and right again. Okay, if it's all right with you guys, I will take individual questions at the back once we have heard from everybody else up here. And like I said at the beginning, please don't think that you are a separate entity that only needs to do these 3 or 4 things that I mentioned specific to veteran benefits. You really need to listen to everything that's going on for the entire student body and take advantage of each and every one of those possibilities. You're going to throw the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, okay? And a lot of it's going to stick, all right? Thank you.
Thank you, John. I would like, Renee, would you please come up, Federal Student Aid? I know.
This is just like another piece of jewelry. Good morning. My name is Renee Galato. I'm with the U.S. Department of Education. I'm come up here out of San Francisco, and with specifically a division called Federal Student Aid. So we're the ones who work with the colleges and with students regarding federal student aid. So federal student aid is your federal student loans, your federal Stafford or federal direct student loans. It's also federal Pell Grants. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. So one thing I want to point out is that it is easy to get overwhelmed because you've got all these different types of aid and you've got all these different agencies involved. And so with the state, the great thing is we've got the Student Tuition Recovery Fund, or what we call STRIF. You hear us using that term a lot. And that will help you take care of or cover at least a good portion, as long as you apply for it, a good portion of fees or funds that you've paid into it cash-wise that federal loans or federal aid is not going to be able to help you with. So make sure you pursue each of the different avenues. So the one I'm here to talk about is the federal student aid portion, specifically your federal student loans. Now, let me clarify, this is a situation that nobody wants to find themselves in. And we really sincerely want to be able to help you make the right decision for you, whatever that may be. So with the federal student loans, the first thing I want to stress is what Victoria and Dave both said. Take your time making a decision. Don't try to make it right now, especially number one, because you're emotional, you're upset, you've got time wasted. So we want to make sure that you do good investigative work. And if you do decide to transfer on and finish out your educational career, that you make a good decision. And so you ask, well, how do I make a good decision? I thought I was making a good decision when I went to this school. And I will tell you, sometimes it's not easy to find that information. And we're limited on information we can provide to the public in some cases. And it's more so because it's investigative, not necessarily where we come out and say, okay, there's a problem at this school and we can publicize it. But there are ways to find out that you're making a good decision when it comes to another institution. So one way is to check with the state agency, and our state agency in California is the Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education. So you can go on and see if there are any actions that have been taken against a school that you might be thinking of. Another option is for the federal government is we are able to publish what we call final program review reports. And those program review reports are posted on something called the Data Center for Federal Student Aid. And they're public information because it's a final review, it's a final report that tells what we found at a school. So do your investigative work. I love Yelp. I don't know if schools are on Yelp, but that's a good way to find out if you're going to have a good experience or not with something. So I would like to ask, has everyone got the fact sheet, the school closure fact sheet that we had on the front table? It was not on the chair. So if you don't have it, if you could raise your hand and we'll get one to you. Someone's passing them up. Just keep your hands up till you get one, please. I am a firm believer in making sure that I go over the documentation that you're going to get to take home with you, because you want to be able to follow along and know where the resources are located. So this is a fairly straightforward and simple information or fact sheet. And so the first question that always comes to mind for all students is, what are my options now? So here we talk about transferring to another school. So you have to look at, one of the important factors is how many credits have you earned at ITT? Is it worth it to discharge your student loan debt that you have and start over from scratch somewhere else? Or were you almost done and just want to find a school to transfer to? So that's when your homework is going to come in. So if you're trying to figure out what school would have your program, there's a useful tool, and it's listed under what are your options now. It's called the College Navigator. And it's a federal student aid tool that you can go in, you can plug in your type of degree or program information, and it can tell you what other schools that are out there that are in your area that offer the same type of program. And then do your work, do your homework. Go to that school, find out what type of credits, how many of your credits they will take. We had a recent situation with another type of school, another beauty school that closed, and we had some schools that would take all of their clock hours, and we had other schools that would take none of them. So you have to kind of figure out what's going to work best for you. If they take only a portion of your credit hours, unfortunately, you cannot get rid of with the student loans, it's either all or none. You cannot choose to keep some of your credits, the ones, for example, that are transferable, and then apply for discharge for the rest. It's either all or none thing. We have a question. Hold that thought.
So, what you just said, how does that differ from what she said a minute ago or earlier about what he asked as well, right? Because
Right.
they were saying the remainder of the credits that are not transferable will be refunded, but you just said that's not the case.
And I'm glad you point that out. Thank you very much. So we're talking federal and state. So with the federal government, the way that the regulations are written, if you apply for a student loan discharge for your federal student loans, we can either discharge all of them, which really means when it comes down to it, you lose all the credits that you've earned. You can't use them again. It's basically like we're going to wipe out your student loans, your student loan debt, but you also can't still use those credits, okay? With the state, it's a little bit different, but from what Victoria was saying, that you can apply for the portion of the classes that you didn't get credit for, you can apply for those under the Student Tuition Recovery Fund. So that's a good option to have, which I wasn't aware of until today.
So once again, what I would need for you to do is complete the STRIP application, submit all your loan documents and your transfer information, and then we can go from there. Are you done? Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you,
No,
Renee.
no, I'm not done.
Okay.
Sorry. This is really cool, though. I think I got it. I didn't realize it was Velcro. Okay. Okay, so College Navigator, using that to make an informed decision is good. It's very important. The next thing is to look at your forgiveness or cancellation options with your student loans. So one thing they talk about here is what's called borrower defense. Have any of you heard of that? So it's borrower defense to repayment. That means if you feel that your school misled you, committed fraud, anything like that, and you want to apply for that particular type of discharge, you can do so. And it gives the link to the website where you can find out more information. Generally what's required is that the state has taken action. And in California, do we know, has the California Attorney General taken action?
I don't have that information as of yet.
I don't know either, and I apologize for that, but if the state has taken action, that may be something to look into, okay? It doesn't mean you're going to get, it means you can discharge your loans that way. Regardless of whether you apply for student loan discharge the normal way because the school closed and you were attending, or if you go through the borrower defense option, it's still the same result. You get rid of your student loans. In both cases, please do not just ignore the student loans because you've already got this. You've taken action, you've applied for borrower defense, or you've applied for closed school discharge. Make sure you check with your servicer and file a deferment of some kind. A deferment basically puts off payments. So there's a deferment, and then there's something called a forbearance. So they'll put you on, you'll want to request either one, and we'll talk about how to find out who your servicer is in a second, okay? I'm going to need reading glasses pretty soon. Wow. Studentaid.gov/ITT, it's a fourth arrow down. That's where we have information for you about what happened with ITT, because a lot of times you want to know. I know that you've gotten an email, or I believe the students got an email from ITT about what they say has happened, and we've got it from our perspective. So it's just a synopsis of what has happened that caused the issue that ITT made the decision to close. But it gives a lot of other information as well as frequently asked questions by other students. So we got the Bureau of Private Post-Secondary's contact information there. You go to the second page. Talks about obtaining your academic transcripts. So from what students have told us, ITT had told us that they were going to be sending out documentation to you. We don't know if that's happened. I haven't talked to any students where they've said that that was the case. If you go directly to the ITT website, one page is still up and it tells you, what happened, what they say happened, and it also tells you, gives you a link to request your transcripts. And one student earlier indicated that it read like it was more for alumni, but don't worry about that portion. They probably just didn't change the page. So go ahead and request your transcripts that way, and then from what we understand, an email comes to you from a company called Parchment, and they tell you that your transcripts and documentation will be sent to you in about 3 to 4 weeks. Okay? So the big question we always ask students is, do you qualify for a closed school loan discharge? So if you were enrolled in the school or on a leave of absence when the school closed, then yes, you would be eligible to apply for a closed school discharge. You don't have to. You make the decision on what's best for you. Transfer your credits, go somewhere else and finish up, or just discharge them all and start over. Totally up to you. I want to encourage, and it's something to think about, and I know Roy from the Los Rios schools is going to come up here. Community college is a great option, depending on what educational level that you're at. It may be a really good option for you, and the community colleges are all aware of the situation and are more than willing to work with you. So we get a lot of students asking, not so much here, you guys are mostly still currently attending, but we get students that graduated like 5 years ago, and they think, what they're telling us is, I've got all this debt and I haven't had a good experience based on getting this degree, so can I discharge my loans? Can I get rid of it and just forget that I had this degree? And what we're telling those particular students is the borrower defense to repayment, where they think that they were wronged by the school, that's their option for discharge. We have a question.
I'm one of the students that supposedly just graduated as of September. I have not received any degrees of any kind. Am I still entitled to go ahead and file for dissolution of the loan?
Okay. That hurt. Ow. No, it's okay. I don't think it was you. I think it's the mic. They're temperamental. So you completed your education. I know. So I would say that you have a choice. Well, you have a choice. You can choose to keep your degree. Whether you will get the actual piece of paper, I don't know at this point. I really don't. That would be issued by the. I'm so sorry. I don't know whether you'll get that piece of paper. You can definitely get your transcripts, and that would show that you completed your program. So you have that option. Once you complete your program, technically you're ineligible for a closed school discharge. However, that's where the borrower defense to repayment option comes in. Now, please understand that this borrower defense to repayment, like if you choose to do that and just wipe clean your degree and pretend like you didn't have it and didn't work so hard for that if you chose to pursue that, it's not like you apply and overnight it's approved. It takes time. This is a regulation. This borrower defense to repayment has been on the books for a while, but we're only recently just starting to work with it with students. So it's taken a little bit of time, but in the meantime, you can apply for deferment or forbearance for your student loan payments. File for everything you can. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I will tell you that on the front page, there's a number, the 1-800-4-FED-AID number. You come up with questions later on down the road and you're not sure what to do. If you're enrolling in another school, they can help you, they can answer questions, but you can always call us and we can do the best we can to answer your questions. So the loan discharge process talks about that. So, you know, on the last page, it gives a list of the loan servicers, but you may be looking at me like, I don't know who my servicer is. You probably, I know I have federal direct student loans from when I was in school, and I get regular monthly communication from my federal loan servicer, probably more than I want. And they're listed all back there, but what you can do is on the bottom of that page, it talks about accessing information about your federal financial aid. At the very bottom of that page 2, it says if you need to access information about your federal financial aid history, and I talked earlier, you had a question about where do you find out information about how much has been dispersed on your federal aid. This is where you can go, is that first link, which is NSLDS, National Student Loan Data System. Okay? And it's pretty straightforward on how to use it. The next thing it talks about there is if you filed a FAFSA, a free application for federal student aid, if you filed that for the 16-17 school year, that's our current award year that we're in, and you had ITT on there, I started to say AT&T. If you had ITT on there, you can add another school if you're looking at transferring. So again, when you're thinking about another school, the institution you're thinking about can help you figure out what type of financial aid you have left. So you may have some financial aid left for the academic year. They may have used it all. It just depends on where you were at in your education. We have a question up here. Hold on just a second.
Hi, I'm not sure if you could answer this, but I applied for a Pell Grant and I was supposed to receive it in September. Like, do I still get to receive it even though there's no more school, or?
That's a good question. So the Pell Grant is a little bit different. It's a grant. Generally, the grant goes to help you pay for your education, and the money is going to hit the school first in all cases. The money always comes direct to the school. And if there's any residual left over to give you to pay for cost of living, things like that, housing, transportation, it's going to go, then it would be dispersed to you. If it's been dispersed, which you can find out by going on to NSLDS, then the school would have received it. And no, the school shut down operations. So I don't foresee any disbursements going out unless it was already in the mail the day the school closed. And just on another note, with the Pell Grants, federal student loan discharge is in the regulations. That means that you're able to get back that eligibility for federal student loans if you want to go to school somewhere else, if you discharge your loans and give up those credits. Federal Pell Grant, there is no regulation that covers that. And so unfortunately that means that you do not get credit for that Pell Grant back. So the way that Pell Grants work is Pell Grants are given at 600% or 6 years of full-time study. And each time you have an award for Pell Grants, that portion of the Pell Grant that you used is minus off that 600%, okay? So if you had a full year, full-time study, and they used 100% of that 600%, that means you would have 500% left. So unfortunately, there's nothing in place where Pell Grants are restored. And I'm sorry for that. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out, something that Victoria talked about too, please don't pay for any help with this stuff. We have plenty of resources as far as federal student aid. The schools will walk you through it if you need it. The Bureau of Private Post-Secondary will give advice. But you can always call 1-800-4-FED-AID. Our office, we're in San Francisco, one of the regional offices. You can call us too. So if you need assistance, if you're not sure what to do after you've examined, give us a call. My name is Renee. I'll take your call. I only work till 3 though. I get there at the crack of dawn. But I'm more than happy to try to assist, but in the end, you guys have to make the decisions. Just do not hire a company to help you pay, or that will charge you to apply for forgiveness for your student loans. Okay? And I'll stick around for a while if you guys have individual questions that you'd like assistance on, but we really appreciate the fact that you came out here. I apologize for the situation. It's not the type of situation where we want to meet you for. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. So are there any additional questions that, yes?
So I understand how to get the information on how much my loans were dispersed. If I was under a payment plan through ITT where I was paying, I don't know, 175 or something per semester or something like that out of pocket, where would I find that information on how much I've paid?
So do you have receipts for your payments?
No.
How did you pay? Was it cash?
Yeah, usually a card. It was usually card. I just went in.
What you can do is you can go through your card holder, credit card or your bank, a debit card, and there'll be records of all the payments that you made to the school.
Mhm.
You could submit that as proof of payment.
Okay, so ITT, I guess they're closed. So there's no record from them that I would be able to obtain.
I'm not sure exactly what they have on their website. I don't know if they are going to provide you with a
anything.
student summary of, a payment,
Mhm.
but you can always go back to your card statements.
Okay, and now is that a state thing or a federal thing?
That would be a state. For refund,
Yeah.
it's going to be the state. You would utilize the Student Tuition Recovery Fund application.
Okay.
For everybody that used the GI Bill for for this application on page 3 where it says economic loss for tuition, do we just put GI Bill?
Okay, so if you want to submit your, from what I understand, the Veterans Affairs sent a payment to the school on the student's behalf. Am I correct?
Yes.
So you should be able to go back to Veterans Affairs and ask them for a summary of what they sent to the school. And I think what they do is they give you like an official letter with how much money was sent to the school. Yes, Rich. Everybody hear him? Okay, great. Okay, so, well, this concludes our session, but I'm gonna be here, and I have extended staff here as well. Oh, go ahead. Yes, Los Rios is in the back, so if you have any questions or concerns, or if you want to just see what your options are at community college, please visit their table and they'll assist you. And the BPP staff, we're here to assist you if you have any questions in regards to the STRIP application.
The BPP staff, can you raise your hands? They can help you with the Student Tuition Recovery Fund application. Veteran Affairs is in the back. Los Rios is right here to my left. And Department of Ed to my far left.
Thank you. Good luck to you.